Yes, this is Josh from the band Larkins, and you are listening to ICRT.
ICRT. All right, ladies and gents, we're here with Josh Noble of Larkins. Josh, how you doing?
Yo. I'm really good, man. I'm really good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you here over the ether webs. And of course, you're joining us over in the UK. You're in Manchester right now, or just outside of Manchester, right?
Yeah. We live in the centre, so we've got a little flat in the northern quarter of Manchester, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right, and first question, obviously, how are things over there?
It's okay. I mean, living right in the centre of town is a little bit strange because it's full lockdown. So, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But, I mean, it's the most beautiful time of the year right now. The air is super clear in the centre. The birds are returning. It's pretty beautiful. So, I mean, I know it's the worst situation, but, it's every silver lining, I guess.
I understand that you guys, the boys, just finished a round of tour in early or late February. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which means that around this time of the year, you're supposed to be sitting down and writing at home anyway.
A little bit. I mean, we were in America for 4 weeks when it hit. So we'd done our first show in Canada. Mm-hmm. We got to New York, and the day we got to New York, we got a call from our label like, "You guys have got to come home because it's getting really bad."
Yeah.
So that got cut short, and then we've moved our April UK tour to December. So it's the worst, man. But I mean, it's given me the chance to write. I've brought the studio home, put it in our flat. I'm just writing every day. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Nice. Okay, we've been playing your music here on Asia Pop for quite some time. And
Thanks,
let's talk about the music. But let's talk about the start of the band, because I think for people who don't know much about Larkins, you and Dom are basically high school buddies, or actually grade school buddies, right?
Yeah, so we knew each other since we were like 11, 12 years old. We met at school. And then when we got to like 16, 17, when we wanted to start a band, we went back to our old school and we said to one of our teachers, "Do you know anyone plays bass?" And he was like, "Yeah, there was this kid, he's a couple of years younger than you. He's got dreads down to, his waist. But I'm sure he would play in your band." And his dad brought him along to his audition. We just sat in this little room and he was amazing. And then he said to us like a few months later, like, "Yeah, we got this guy called Joe who plays drums. He should join as well." So we all came from the same little town, and it just really worked out. Like a few different ages, we'd been in school together. But it was like your most typical start of a band,
You know what? I actually assumed that was the case, that you and Dom are in the same class year, which means that, the other boys are a couple of years younger than you. You probably recruited them from a different grad class. And that was the case. So you got Henry, who's on bass, and Joe, who's on drum, basically from the same school.
Yeah. Yes, all from the same school. It was weird. I remember like recognizing who's like the only kid in school with dreads, So our teacher was just like, "Yeah, this guy plays bass," and it was really cute, man. So like we've grown up together. I've known Dom for forever. I don't really have many memories before Dom. So yeah.
So looking back, what year was that when the band first formed? When the quartet first got together?
I guess it would have been like 4 or 5 years ago. I guess like properly when we started as a real band, doing our first proper shows. I guess as like a professional outfit, as like a real band. I guess that probably only started maybe 3 years ago. Well, that's the point where we were like, let's go properly,
That's been a very fruitful and productive 4 or 5 years for you guys. You've, of course, had a couple of really signature and really mesmerizing tunes. I would say your first breakout hit is TV Dream. That was the one that got things started for you, right?
Yeah, so that was like the first time. I remember sitting down in the kitchen here with Dom and just being like, we've got this tune and it feels pretty poppy. I'd written like, I want to take you dancing, and it felt really happy and upbeat. But at the same time, in Manchester at the time, there was a lot of stuff brewing about rape culture and about gender inequality. And it just felt like it was the first chance I'd had to write a pop tune or write alt pop, but also say something important,
Yeah.
And it had this big fat riff, loads of bass. It sounded like us for the first time. But I also wanted, as a writer, to be like, I really want to say something important. So when it got to that middle eighth bit and it was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing on the TV screen. I can't believe what I'm hearing. It actually felt like it meant something a bit more. And I think that's why it went down so well, because it had a bit more of a message than other stuff.
So is that where you draw your inspiration from mostly? Social occurrences, what you see on TV?
I think so. I think we're all kind of inherently writing about society and
Yeah.
about culture. I feel like that. I feel like a lot of the time I write like trying to be youthful
Mm.
because I guess like that's the demographic I'm around. They're the people that I would associate with, and that's who I am as a person right now. I try not to get too political because that can kind of get a bit juicy sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I guess it's like socio-economic stuff. It's hard not to write about what's around you, you know.
And TV Drink came out in February of 2019. By
Yeah,
April, you guys were, of course, already playing live shows for a while. But I noticed that your first live album came out, 2 months after that huge hit for you. And in that album, you were already performing some of the songs that you are releasing now at your live set, which means that you
yeah.
have a lot of songs put away, right?
Yeah, we had loads. I mean, that show was big. That was 2,000 people in our hometown in Manchester, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
It felt like the right thing to do to record it, but like all these hip hop artists were dropping stuff on SoundCloud. They were like writing stuff in the morning, drop it in the afternoon, and people were going nuts for it. And like me as a massive fan of music, it was like, yeah, I'm into that, I'm not into that. You should do more of that. So it was kind of just jumping on that and trying to be a bit more in that kind of let's write some songs, let's play them live, let's see what people think. And it
Mm-hmm.
was cool to like put a flagpole down, you know, and just be like, this is what we're up to right now. This is where we're at. This is who we are as a band. And yeah, and just like really put a flagpole down and go, this is what we've got for now. So it's nice now to go back, get in the studio and work on those same songs.
Some of the hip hop acts, and they would try out their songs or verses right the night of, and they see what works or not. Another type of artist that does that a lot is comedians. So basically, they write jokes and they try it out, and if it works, then it works, and they'll try to use it in a special or a stand-up sequence. So I guess it's the same for you. You must have tried out a lot of different songs, and then some of the ones that you're starting to release now as singles are the ones that you really found that fed off the energy of the people who enjoyed it.
I guess it's very much like you don't know if a song's good until you've played it live. That's always been our thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit like in sports, you're fit and then you're match fit.
Yeah.
Like we always say that about songs. Like songs are ready and then they're gig ready. And you just know straight away, like, you know, with certain lines, you put certain emphasis on the show. You know if it's going to work or not. I guess it's the same for comedians. You just don't know until you've played it live.
Mm-hmm.
There's some songs that you write and you feel like, oh, it's going to go down so well, and then it flops. So it's kind of, yeah, it's just experimenting. I feel like I've got to a point now in my writing where I kind of know what's going to work and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I hope. But I still wouldn't want to release it without I've played it live, you know.
But I'm sure at first it's hard for especially as a creator to write something and then it flops and you're like, no, there's no way that's a flop. And I'm sure it was hard to get over that ego of yours, you know, to say, no, I got to try it again, and then it flops a second time. Are you getting better at that too? You know, knowing when something has failed.
I think you realize that, like, to me, because I have such an addictive personality, everything that's new is good. So I'll write stuff in the morning and be like, this is the best tune I've ever done. And then by the afternoon, I'm already had enough of it. I think it's stuff like, you've just got to be careful and not let that ego get in the way a little too much. Like, I'm in no position right now to kind of preach about musicianship or songwriting because I haven't got there yet, and I don't feel like I have. And I don't feel like I've earned that yet. But I feel like that's the point of doing this, and that's where I want to be, and they're the kind of people that I want to be up against. So it's just time, man, and I think perseverance, and I know what I want to do. I know what I want to write about. I know what I want this band to kind of stand for, and I know where I want us to play. So until we get to that point, you know, there's no point stopping.